And I don't want to be in the position of being expendable.
Yeah, I just spent 6 hours watching Netflix.
Hmm.
That's a lot of my time. I just cost myself a couple $100 there. With your 9 to 5, with YouTube, how do you balance learning? First off, why do you care still about learning? Let's take it from step one. You already have a job, you're already successful. Why do you care about learning still?
So the first reason is okay. The first reason, right? You hear about all these layoffs and stuff that are always happening, and then people are like, "Oh my God, I got laid off. I've been at this company for this amount of time and stuff like that." And I don't want to be in the position of being expendable, which, to a certain extent, everybody's expendable. But I'm like, hey, I'm going to gain as much knowledge as possible, and I'm going to be offer and be as valuable as possible to whoever I'm working with and whoever I'm working for. And that way, that forces me to continue to learn. I'm always volunteering for things on the job to say, all right, can I try doing this Terraform stuff? Can I try doing this Docker stuff? Whatever the case may be, because there's a segment that it's not necessarily software engineers work, or it's not necessarily Q engineers work. So we help each other out and we try to patch it together. So I'm like, hey, let me see how much I can learn so we can both contribute, and we work as a team instead of, oh, this is not my job and that's not my job and I'm only gonna do this. I'm like, I want to be involved in it all.
And that's the thing, a lot of people just try to do the bare minimum. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna do minimal work, try not to get fired, but then these mass layoffs come, who are they gonna fire first? The people at the bottom who just have a very limited skill set. But if you're versatile, know how to do this, know how to code, can use this tool, that tool. They're like, well, Justin, let's keep him around. He can do this job and that job. So the more skills you have, the more marketable you are in your company. And let's say you do get laid off. If you have an up-to-date skill set, you'll find a job in no time. That's if
Hmm.
you have an up-to-date skill set. I know some people who get into a job and they get stuck with just doing what that job does. And let's say at my last job, everyone just did C Sharp, Microsoft tech stack. But now a lot of companies want Java and Python. And they're like, well, I don't know anything outside of Microsoft. I'm like, well, you gotta kind of learn. Like, some people just like, no, I'm be it forever. Jobs are safe, but I don't think safe is a real word in any job market at this point. So I
Yeah.
feel that just always trying to learn, even if it's a little bit a day, an hour a week, any little bit helps.
Yeah, when you think about it, now that you mention it, like hour a day, if I add it together, like on Sundays, I might spend like 2 to 3 hours working on Terraform. And then like the mornings, it's like about an hour for the Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I end up doing like 3 hours of different tools for each, like 3 hours of the mobile development, 3 hours of QA stuff, 3 hours of Terraform. And I'm just like, the way that I get it done is just to be able to live stream it and share it with everyone else. So let me answer the part about how do I find the time to do it, right? So really what I always advocate for is making use of your calendar. I use my Google Calendar all the time. Like when we schedule this, you just went to the link and all right, let me put some time on the clock, right? So I get some time. And that's pretty much how I schedule everything. And I'll tell you this, when I'm spending time with like when I want to go hang out with my family and stuff like that, because we'll do like some movie in the park thing, or some they have like some music thing in our city. I'll put it on the calendar for like 2, 3 hours. Like, hey, this because I can schedule stuff before it. I can schedule stuff after it. I schedule everything from the live streams. I have like my whole calendar, like the times that I work when I'm like on the clock at work, when I'm working on like my thumbnails, when I'm working on recording videos, when I go play basketball, when I sleep, everything is scheduled, right? And of course, it could be modified a little bit, but I have everything scheduled so that I can I can make the most use of my time.
I'm the same way. I still use pen and paper though, but I had to get the Google Calendar way because for other people to know my schedule, also the calendar helps a lot. Instead of me saying, hold on, let me go to my book real quick. Yeah, I'm not free today. But having a calendar say, hey, just book a slot That's definitely a smart move.
Yeah, I just automate everything. I'm like let the like when people are booking their coaching calls with me, I'm like, all right, like even like for my top like for the people I'm actually coaching one-on-one, I have them in a Slack group, and every Monday I just send a reminder, hey, remember to book your coaching calls, whether you're doing 30 minutes or an hour, and they just go and they book, and then I get an email, I see it on my calendar, I'm like, cool, and I just go that way, but everything has to be scheduled. One of the Flutter or the mobile app that I'm working on in Flutter right now, I'm actually writing like my unit test and my widget test for it. It's the one that I ended up doing first was it's a time cost calculator, right? Where you put in like how much income you bring in a year, and it divides it by the total amount of hours in a year, and it tells you, all right, this is how much your an hour of your time based on the total hours in a year is worth. And then it says like, okay, now what's the activity? How much time you're going to spend on this activity, right? So whatever the activity is, right? There's still a value to it. So he's like, oh, I'm going to spend 4 hours. So he says, okay, so that means this is how much it's going to be costing you of time, like, right? And just like it's just information at the end of the day. A lot of people like they're like, oh, it's not this, and I'm like, it's just information. Whatever you do with the information is yours, but it's just information.
It's helpful to have. It's not a Bible or anything to like, hey, I should cut off, but hey, I just spent 6 hours watching Netflix.
Hmm.
That's a lot of my time. I just cost myself a couple $100 there.
Exactly, so you like do like and like I tell people like, some stuff like it's worth it. Like for example, if going out to hang out with my family on a Saturday night cost me like $300, it might be worth it. But you can balance it. Oh, maybe I should do that like next week because I have this thing right now that's going to do this for us, right? So it's just about weighing, like you're just weighing the costs and the benefits of doing what you're doing at the time.
And that's the thing, like actually seeing where you're allocating your time to, because people tell me that, oh, I have no time. And I'm like, well, what are you doing the average week? Well, today I hang out with my friends, and then I might go out and get some food, and then I'm gonna watch this new episode of this. I'm like, you do have time, but your priorities are your priorities. If you don't have learning as a priority, then you're not gonna do it. If you still prioritize certain things, that's good for you, but don't say you don't have time. You just don't have learning as a priority for you right now in your life.
Yeah, and that's what like everyone prioritizes what's important to them, right? That's the key to it. If it's important to you, then you're gonna like we all find time to do the stuff that matters to us.